Hi everybody, James here. This week we're going to go over Unit 4. Let me go over a couple things, some new information about your first assignment, your persuasive paragraph. The due date is going to be April 26th at 11:59, and you will need to upload your paper, your assignment 1, to Plato. And when Plato is back up and running, right now the server is down, but when Plato is back up and running, you will see an assignment folder for assignment 1, persuasive paragraph, and you will upload your assignment there. Okay, so keep going on to Plato, and once you see the assignment 1 folder, you will be able to upload it. But again, it is due April 26th at 11:59 p.m. Okay, if you have any questions about that, please let me know. Post to the class CalTalk, please. As far as everything else, you're aware that the persuasive essay assignment 2 is going to be due week 9. Again, I'll let you know the dates for that. And your smart choice practice extra credit, units 1 through 6. May 1st is the due date for that at 5 p.m. Okay, so on with Unit 4. Unit 4, we're going to be talking about personalities. So describing personalities, we're also going to go over relative clauses. Okay, that is your grammar point for this week. Okay, so for Unit 4, we're going to talk about describing those personalities. What are personalities? Personality, of course, is somebody's characteristics, samkyok, something that you describe about a person. What are they like on the inside? Nothing about appearance. Appearance is totally different. So we're just talking about what's on the inside. And then learn about and be able to use relative clauses, and you'll have to do some of that for your homework as well. Okay, so let's do a little bit of vocabulary building here. Think about how you describe people. What words do you use? What are some ways to describe someone's personality? So think about that yourself. See if you can write down 10 adjectives to describe a person's personality. For example, when you're thinking about someone's personality, think about your best friend. What is your best friend like? Well, you can say my best friend is kind. My best friend is humorous. Let's see some else. My best friend is positive. Another word for positive, you could say optimistic. Optimistic is another way to describe somebody who's positive, optimistic. If you want to describe a person who's the opposite of optimistic, you can say somebody who's pessimistic. Pessimistic and optimistic, they're opposites. Somebody who's kind of outgoing, well, outgoing would be a way to describe somebody's personality, or you can say that somebody is social, or somebody likes to talk. You can say they are talkative. Talkative people are very outgoing usually and like to talk quite a bit. The opposite of that, you can probably say somebody is shy, or maybe not necessarily shy. They can communicate with people, or they are more introverted. Introverted is somebody who likes to be by themselves, prefers the company of very few people, maybe just themselves and their friend, or somebody who's a little bit reserved. Reserved is somebody who's quiet and likes to be by themselves. Or the opposite of that is what we just talked about, outgoing, social, or we also say extroverted. So I'll go ahead and stop with the adjectives there, but maybe you can come up with some more. Think about some more adjectives that you can use to describe people's personality. Here are a few. Okay, and some of these are in your books. So let's think about some more vocabulary and jump into your books. Okay, I want you to turn to page 24 in your textbook, and we'll do exercise 1 and 2. Okay, so here's your textbook here. Look at exercise 1. Exercise 1, okay, it says look at the picture. What are the people like? Write the correct letter, then listen and check your answers. Well, I'll just go over this for you guys here, and we'll look at the picture and plug it all in here. So if we take a look at number 1 here, you can see that she's looking at her watch. She's kind of grumpy at her boyfriend or husband or whatever. So you can say that she is impatient. Okay, she's a little impatient, a little grumpy. like my wife sometimes, but don't tell her I said that, okay? This person here, he seems to be looking for his keys. He checked his pockets, he checked his jacket, no keys, so he tends to be a little bit forgetful there. Okay, so number 2 is forgetful. If you look at this woman here in number 3, you can see that she's not really listened to this person here who's trying to have a conversation, introducing herself. Not very nice. So we can probably say that she is impolite. Okay, impolite. Okay, look at number 4 here. Number 4, this gentleman here has a nice big present here for Jim on his birthday. So somebody like that who's very giving would be considered generous. Okay, so number 4 is generous. This person here in number 5, she seems to be talking, blah, 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 blah. So a person who likes to talk, like we used that example before, is somebody who is talkative. Okay, so number 5. Okay, and last one here is somebody who is standing over here by himself. You can see that he's a little bit timid, maybe not comfortable talking with people or socializing. So somebody who's like that, and we use that example too, would be somebody who is reserved. Okay, so number 6 is A. Okay, so those are some examples. Okay, if you jump down here to exercise 2, you can see that there are 6 more examples here, and basically what you need to do is just put the words in the box down below. Okay, if you have some other words that you can plug in, cool. If not, just use these words. Some of them we already talked about, but we want to see whether these words are positive, negative, or neutral. Okay, positive, of course, something good, negative, bad, neutral, not good or bad. So when you think about somebody who's charming, somebody who's kind of attractive on the inside, or very, very nice on the inside, it's positive, right? It's positive. Somebody who's insecure, in means not, so not secure, somebody who's kind of scared or worried all the time or uncomfortable all the time, that would probably be considered a negative characteristic there. Somebody who's self-centered, if we look back at number 3 here, she might be considered self-centered, not really listening to anybody, thinking I'm the most important person in the world. So she would probably be considered self-centered. And that might be, well, not might be, but definitely a negative in my book. Somebody who's outgoing, people tend to think that's a positive characteristic, but some people think it's a negative if you're too outgoing, especially these days. If you're outgoing, you could cause some problems. Pessimistic, as we said, is a negative characteristic, and optimistic always being positive, over here in the positive category. Okay, so there you go. Those are your vocabulary exercises for Unit 4. Okay, so make sure you guys have the correct answers and you know the definitions for those words. Okay, all right, so let's get back into this here. Okay, so those are our vocabulary for words. Here's a list of the words. If you don't know them, make sure that you jump into your dictionary and make sure that you understand those. Okay, so those are just a small list. Remember that the big list is on page 137 in your book. Okay, so go over those words. Okay, as far as your grammar point this week, you're going to talk about relative clauses. Okay, relative clauses is a type of clause that we use to sort of give more background or more information about something that you've already talked about. So here's a PPT that has also been posted to Plato and to our Kakao Talk. So let's go ahead and take a look at this here. We're going to let Nelson sort of explain, and the Simpsons explain to us what relative clauses are. Okay, so relative clauses, they describe and provide information about something or someone that we have usually already specified. So we've already talked about it, but now we're just giving more information about it, okay? So for example, I like working with students who have fun. Okay, who have fun here in this situation, that is the relative clause. Who is called the relative pronoun. And there are a few pronouns that we'll talk about here in just a second. But again, it just gives more information about students. Okay, the students who have fun are the people that I like. Okay, We use relative clauses in order to identify things or people and to distinguish them from other things. For example, Americans aren't people who live in Canada. No, those are Canadians. People who live in Canada are called Canadians. They're people who were born in the US. So here we are distinguishing groups, Americans and Canadians. So we can say Americans aren't people who live in Canada, who, relative clause. They are people who were born in the United States. Who were born in the United States, that's our relative clause there. Okay, who and who, both relative pronouns. Okay, more information. We use relative clauses to give additional information about something without starting another sentence. Okay, we can keep it in the same sentence. We don't have to use two sentences. So when you combine two sentences into one sentence, it sounds much, much better. And it looks more academic, sounds like you're more fluent, okay, when you're speaking. So when we talk about relative clauses, there are usually two kinds. There are two kinds. There are subject and object relative clauses, okay? They just give information. So when we consider the subject, that, in this example here, two examples, we say that's the woman who bought my car. This would be a subject relative clause because it focuses on the subject of that woman. Okay, and you notice if you look at the relative pronoun, if you look after, you'll see that there is no subject of this relative clause here. Okay, there's no subject. So that could be a way to identify whether it's a subject relative clause or an object relative clause. This example is an object relative clause. It says, that's the flat that I was looking for. Okay, the flat meaning apartment. Okay. Here, if you look at your relative pronoun, you can see that there is a subject that comes after that, okay, that I. Here there is no subject, so it is a subject relative clause. Here there is a subject, so it's an object relative clause there, okay. So what you should be able to do is you should be able to combine sentences and put two sentences together, excuse me. So if you look at these examples down here for subject and object relative clauses, say here's two sentences. This is Sophia. She bought my car. Sophia is the person who bought my car. Okay, so we easily combine two sentences here, added a relative clause in this situation, made one sentence. Very nice. That is the flat. I was looking for it. So again, you can take these two sentences, that is the flat that I was looking for, and make one nice sentence there using a relative clause. Very nice. Okay, so how do you form a relative clause? It's pretty easy. Just think about this two sentences here. Okay, here you got, a girl is talking to Tom. Do you know the girl? Okay, we can simply take these two sentences and plug them together. So if you take Bart and Milhouse, they're talking together, and Bart is curious about this girl over here. A girl is talking to Tom. Do you know the girl? Milhouse probably doesn't know any girls, except for Lisa. That sounds rather complicated. So what we need to do is we need to think about how to put them together. And the most important thing you want to start with. Okay, so start with the most important thing. You want to know who the girl is. Okay, and who is the girl? Okay, do you know the girl? Okay, do you know the girl? And next, we're going to take the secondary part. We're going to change it into a relative clause, and we're going to put who in front of it because who is the girl, right? So use the girl only in the first part. The second part, replace it with the relative pronoun who. Okay, who. So it's going to be very easy, okay? Do you know the girl who is talking to Tom? So now we've taken two pieces of information, plugged it into one sentence or question, and it sounds really nice, okay? So do you know the girl who is talking to Tom? Who being the relative pronoun. So relative pronouns, okay, they're basically just a few, okay, there are four, including whose. Whose is a special one. So with people, you're only going to use who or that, and then for things, you're going to use which and that. So who is only with people, which is only with things. That you can use with both. Okay, whom basically is The more, I guess, nopinmal, the more honorific way to say who. So just put an M at the end there. So it's more formal, basically. Okay. Who, okay, I'll go over this really brief. Who is used in a subject or object. Okay, if we're going to use it as a subject, you can say, I told you about the woman who lives next door, or you can use it as an object relative clause as well. Mary is the girl who we met at the party. Okay, consider those. Okay, which, okay, again, we use that with things. Okay, we don't use those with people. Okay, we can use it with animals too. Okay, you can say, do you see the cat which is lying on the roof? Or an object, have you seen the book which I put on the table? Okay, you can even omit that. You don't even have to use it in that situation there. Okay, that, again, you can use it with anything. Here are a couple examples here. Whose, this is special. This is with possession. Okay, something that you own. It's for people, animals, and things. Whose cannot be omitted in this situation. Do you know the girl whose mother is a nurse? Any questions? Probably not. If you do have any questions about those, please post them to the class Calcal. Okay? Otherwise, let's jump into our textbook here. We're going to go over the exercises on page 26, and I'm just going to go over exercise 1. You guys can do exercise 2, okay, and it goes over your personal information, basically. Okay, so let's take a look here. And this box up here at the top, it explains very well the differences between subject relative clauses and object relative clauses. And just remember that who is used with people, which is used with things. With objects, there is usually a pronoun or some sort of subject that comes after the relative pronoun. With whose is a possession, and usually after whose there is some sort of noun. Myungsa, there's a noun that comes after that. So that might be a little hint that helps you remember if you're going to use whose or some other pronoun, okay? So use this as an example here. And if you want more information, you can always look in the back pages here. I'll just go ahead and show you. If you go to the back of the book, to the grammar reference and practice pages, you can see that there are extra grammar exercises and more information about certain grammar. So if you go to page 128, you can see that there is more information about relative clauses, and there is more exercises down here at the bottom too. Okay, so you can always check those out. All right, so let's get back to our exercise here. Let's figure it out. So that would be page 128. Okay, if you want more information about that. Okay, so let's look at exercise number 1 here. It says choose the correct word to complete the sentence. Number 1 is already done. It says he's the kind of person who everyone gets along with. Who, of course, we're talking about a person, so that's our hint there. Okay, so that's easy. Okay, that's the couple who or whose party we went to last week. Okay, so what do you think? Well, what are we referencing here? Okay, is there a possession? Yes, there's the party. So who owned the party? So it's a thing. It's going to be who's in this situation. Okay, that's the couple whose party we went to last week. Okay, number 3. The woman, oh, we can already see that that is a person. Okay, the woman, that. Okay, the woman that lives across the street is charming. Okay, number 4. The stories whose or that he tells are really interesting. Okay, what are we referencing here? Okay, we're referencing stories in this situation here. There's no possession, so we're going to use that because he is a person. Okay, the stories, and also that is talking about stories. So the stories that he tells are really interesting. Okay, number 5. My uncle is someone whose or who generosity is well known. Generosity is possession. It's owned by the uncle. So we're going to say whose. My uncle is someone whose generosity is well known. Okay, last one here. Number 6. Good friends are people who or whose we all value. We're talking about people. Talking about friends, we only have one choice there. There's no possession, so we're going to say who. Good friends are people who we all value. Okay, so that's exercise 1 for your grammar point. Like I said, I'll let you guys do your own work for exercise 2 here. Just plug in some relative clauses, answer your own information. Like, my mom is someone who is very kind. My friends are the kind of people who are humorous. You can do that for your own information. Okay, so there you go. There's your grammar point for Unit 4. If you have any questions about the grammar point, please post to the class Kakao. Okay. All right, so let's go back into this. And I got a little bit of homework for you guys this week. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of interaction here with each other or with some friends. So what you guys are going to do for your homework, it says practice a personality survey. Okay, so you're going to print out the personality survey that I posted to Plato or our class Kakao. I posted it on our class Kakao as well. So you're going to print it out, or if you don't want to print it out, there are other ways that you can use it electronically. You can make a print screen. You can use a print screen. You can use a photo grab and edit it with some marks, screenshots. You can do all sorts of things. So if you don't want to print it out, you can just do it like that. Okay, so after you print it out or after you screenshot it, you're going to find 3 friends. Friends that you know, maybe you can call them on the phone and ask them, or if you're meeting them, you can ask them, or if you want to meet some new friends, you can kind of Kakao call people in our class and say, hey, what's up? I'm doing our homework, so can you answer the questions? So you can Kakao call some of your friends in the class as well. So after you do that, write your friends' names under students 1, 2, and 3. So if you look at our survey here, okay, when you call your friends or you talk to your friends, write their names under each category here. Make sure that you guys write your names at the top and write the class number that you're in as well, so that I can give you guys credit for that. And then after you guys do that, basically you're just going to ask them the questions. Okay, you're going to start with, do you think? Okay, then you're going to complete that. You say, do you think most talkative people are not very good listeners? So, ask the questions and then just check your answer, check your friend's answer. Just do it like that. So you're going to go through all the questions. Try to, take your time, go slow with this, learn the language, okay? That'll help you. Okay, so after you do that, after you complete it, you're going to take a photo of it. If you printed it out, you're going to take a photo, or if you used a screen grab or a screenshot or something like that, basically just screen grab it again or edit it, and you're going to upload it to the Week 4 survey assignment folder on Plato. So I'm going to create a folder for your assignments, and you're just going to upload your photo or your document into that folder. Okay, if you have any problems with that, please let me know as well. This is going to be due on Sunday night, April 12th at 11:59. Okay, I think you guys can handle that. So just think about what you guys found out, see if you have anything in common. Okay, here's your other homework for this week, guys. Continue working on your assignment 1, your persuasive paragraph. Look over any of the feedback that I gave you, and don't forget to read other feedback that I gave other students as well. And remember that the due date is April 26th at 11:59. Okay, you're going to upload that as I mentioned. I'll mention it again next week, how you do that. You'll see the assignment 1 persuasive paragraph folder that you can put your document there. Okay, don't email it to me. Do not post it to the class Kakao. Post the documents, upload the documents to Plato. Other homework, please read the article and do the exercise on page 28, 3 celebrity friendships, that's in your book. Do the exercises, of course. Study the Unit 4 vocabulary words on page 137. That helps you, of course. Please complete all Unit 4 activities and Smart Choice practice. Okay, do that. Okay, you got until Sunday night, 11:59. Okay, don't forget to go to Plato, watch your guys' weekly videos Okay, those are not my videos. Those are the administration, so watch those. Okay, go to Play-Doh. And lastly, your Kakao Talk homework. And by the way, you guys, just to let you know, the way that I check your attendance is if you guys post to our class Kakao. Yeah, I can see that you guys do your homework on Play-Doh, but our participation in our class Kakao, that really shows me that you're making an effort and you're attending and you're doing your part. So I'm using your Kakao Talk homework as part of your attendance, okay? So please make sure you complete those. So answer the following questions, or just question. In your opinion, what is the most important characteristic in a friend? Okay, that's your question for this week. Give me a topic sentence, 2 reasons, examples, and a concluding sentence. You guys are good at that now. Use at least one relative clause from this week's grammar point. So for the homework, you have to use a relative clause, okay? Post your answers to the class Kakao. You guys know what to do. And this is going to be due on Sunday as well, 11:59. Okie dokie. All right, you guys. Again, if you have any questions, please post to the class Kakao. I'll get to them as quickly as I can. Remember, we're helping each other. Don't be ashamed. Don't be shy to post your questions on the class. Okay, it helps each other out, and that's what we're here for. Okay, so help each other. Okay, all right, guys, that's it. That's a wrap. You guys, great job this week. Continue your hard work. Hopefully, one day we'll be able to meet in person. If not, keep fighting. Stay safe and healthy, and I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, that's it. See ya.